It is March 5th, 1770. The Boston Massacre is happening. Colonists are having a dispute about the quartering act. They are mad that they have to provide housing, candles, bedding, and beverages to soldiers stationed in the colonies. The night the colonists were outside the Boston Customs House yelling insults at the lobsterbacks. Then after the insults they started to throw snowballs, oyster shells, and chunks of ice at the British soldiers. Suddenly the soldiers panicked and fired into the crowd. When the smoke cleared, there they lay, 5 people dead. Among the first to die was Samuel Maverick, a 17-year-old white youth, and Crispus Attucks, a free black sailor. I think that this event will cause terrible things and maybe lead to war because one of the British soldiers could tell their king and we could probably start a war with us. The colonists, however, are not real happy with the soldiers. I, being a colonist, will be very angry because we do a lot for the British and they do nothing for us in return. Lanamankey.
November 1773. I'm getting ready to go dump tea into the Boston Harbor. I'm dressed up as a Mohawk Indian, and a ship that we're raiding has about $70,000 worth of tea on it. Reporters are here watching us and reporting. We are now just leaving and the people are mad. The next day I wake up and see a lot of men at my door, so I answer. It was about the last night. He told me that I and a few other guys will be sent to jail, but we did it so they would stop with the taxes. We are now in court and we are being punished for the Tea Act. They also told us that we are now going to be there's going to be a curfew put on us. Of course it means.
It is April 18, 1775, and a battle is about to begin. I am Austin Hannell, a minute in getting ready for battle. We've heard that General Thomas Gage has apparently sent scouts to warn to towns near Boston. He has heard we have a large store of arms in Concord. I hope that the Sons of Liberty see the British move out and hang 1 or 2 lamps in the Old North Church. I've heard about Paul Revere, who is supposed to come and warn us. After a while, he later came and warned us. The next morning, the British reached Lexington and ordered us to go home. Suddenly, a shot rang out and was heard around the world. Nobody knows who shot it. The British kept pushing on to Concord, and only 8 colonists have died. I still survived and warned others. When they got to Concord, they found nothing because we hid it all. When they turned around, they met me and 299 other Minutemen. We were at a bridge just outside of Concord. War broke out once again, and the British were forced to retreat. This is very important because that started more war between the 13 colonies. We got the British by surprise without them even knowing there was nothing at Concord. This had a huge impact on the war because it had started more war quickly spread because of the shot heard around the world. Now that this happened, only war would decide the future of the 13 colonies. Austin Hannell.
July 4th, 1776. It's hard to believe that only a month ago the Continental Congress started to write the Declaration of Independence, and I was giving Thomas Jefferson ideas to write down on the document. They had me write on the left of him, and we were writing day and night. But today is finally done, and we are going to sign it. I am right by Thomas Jefferson, so I can see when everybody signs it. I kind of chickened out when they were going to sign it, so I'm not signing it. The reason that I chickened out is I'm afraid that we will lose and everyone who signs the document will be hung. Alex Libory.
June 16, 1775, we were getting ready for the Battle of Bunker Hill. The women were making clothes and guns, knowing that the British were planning to occupy Boston. On 1775, June 17th, both sides of Breeds Hill, the British tried to advance and get really close because of limited supplies, but the Americans made British retreat. The British tried after reforming, but the same result. The British did the same thing and pushed over the top. That day, the British took over Breeds Hill and Bunker Hill. The British paid a high price for winning. 1,000 redcoats either dead or wounded. America only lost 400 people. The Battle of Bunker Hill was the first major battle. That battle showed 2 things: that the British were hard to fight and that America could fight bravely.
December 26, 1776. The people around me are trying to get in the boat that I am in charge of, but this is the boat reserved for General Washington and a few other officers. I'm about to take this boat across, and we start off. Our boat makes it about 200 feet, and then we see small chunks of ice in our way. Then we have to move them with an ice pick. All of the army make it across, and I overhear the generals talking, and they say, "The men are sleeping." And then Washington says, "Good, they need all the rest they can." The men get marching, and I'm in front. They say, "Get ready to fight and have us a good time and turn the tide of the war." It is so cold out here that I'm about to run to Trenton just to warm up. I'm feeling about as nervous as a pig on slaughter day because of the Hessians in Trenton. And we all think that the men will lose but by some slim chance our army might win. A win would turn the war around, but a loss would completely end the war because it is getting towards the end of the year. And if the army does not have a win, the men will not re-enlist.
September 26, 1777. Myself and the rest of Morgan's riflemen have been following General Burgoyne's forces for about 2 weeks in upstate New York, and we have been targeting Indian scouts and officers. We have killed almost 400 scouts and several of their officers, and we still have hardly lost any men. Their forces now have no idea of the terrain or our troop movement. Today we have killed General Fraser. He was killed when another rifleman, Timothy Murphy, shot him off his horse. They'll surrender before they gain much ground in New England for sure. If not, then New England will be cut off from the southern and middle colonies, and we will lose the war from lack of supplies and recruits. Also, if we win, then France might come and help us. Jake Ship.
I'm here at Valley Forge camping out for the cold winter in the year 1777, which is located just outside of Pennsylvania. I am very cold and ready to go home. We are in terrible conditions here. People are getting disease such as smallpox and frostbite. We are still in our summer gear, which is terrible because the temperatures have dropped tremendously. People are having to see the doctor every day, and there's only one thing that the doctor can do. He can take the smallpox from a person and then rub it on the cut. Not only were the conditions bad, we have to train in the cold to fight the British. We have told Washington over and over again that no matter what, we will fight for him. Now we are second-guessing what we have said before. Our morale is very bad right now. We have just gotten through the worst part of Valley Forge. It can only get better. We have gained better morale for when we fight the British, or we will be defeated. You can already tell with the weather getting better, we are starting to gain power, and you can definitely see the teamwork we are going on. Ty Heaton.
The year 1778 in the Revolutionary War. I am at the workshop trying to make a cannon as fast as I can, but make sure that it is done right. Then go home to my family and help my wounded husband. After that, I go back to the workshop and work on the cannon and guns. When the day is almost over, I start to work on the field while my husband sleeps inside with my children. After I'm done, and start on fixing the uniforms that were given to me to fix. My good friend Betsy Ross of Philadelphia sewed the American flags. Mary Ludwig Hayshed carried water to some soldiers and her husband. Her husband's wounds are getting bigger, so she has chosen to go into the war for him. Us women do a lot of things for men, and we deserve to have the same rights as men do. Randy Finley.
It is October 19th, 1781. Earlier in the war, British troops under Sir Henry Clinton marched through the South, hoping to gain the Loyalist support in the war. At first, Sir Henry's plan worked, but since Britain and Loyalist attacks on the people became extremely cruel, more people sided with the Patriots. I thought there was still a chance we could win. General Cornwallis, under British command, sent in Loyalist troops to attack Virginia. Back then, we didn't have many troops under Lafayette's command. We had raided against the British, unable to start a major battle because of our small numbers. But since Sir Henry Clinton retreated to along the Chesapeake Bay with all of his troops, the Continental Army, along with General Washington and our French allies, were able to trap Sir Henry's army. With the French fleet in the Chesapeake Bay and the Continental Army outnumbering them 2-1, we were able to siege his army. Today the British surrendered. I think this is a great victory for our cause. Surely we will win now. Victoria Donovan.
My dearest family, the war is over. I am so thankful that the men I fought, suffered, and bled with have at long last defeated the British. However, in this time of triumph and victory, I can't help but think about the fallen. I will never forget those who have perished for this, our cause for liberty. I think back to where our young nation has been the past few years, the scares of the Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party, the hard-fought battles of Bunker Hill, Trenton, Valley Forge, and Saratoga, the relief lifted off of our shoulders as Cornwallis surrendered at Yorktown. It is amazing to see what we have accomplished. I trust in our leaders that they will take part in a brighter future, a more glorious tomorrow. We are on the brink of founding a great nation that can be a beacon of light for generations to come. With the war ending and the militias disbanding, I take measure of what we have lost and what we have won. My hope is that the sacrifices borne will fulfill the promise of our new nation. Please tell the family I will keep my promise and return home to you all.